Hello and welcome to this episode of Packet Tracer. In this episode we want to talk about and have an introduction about the environments here in the physical workspace. So basically all of the containers that we have in the physical workspace, they have an environment, and there is a default environment variables such as temperature, rain, water level, wind speed and snow, and all of the containers that we have in the physical workspace, they do have these default environment variables. Let me show you how it is. As you can see here, if I come to the environment and if I go to the view, then you will be able to see that Intercity has its own environment variables, including gravity, light, temperature, and all these other environments. And the same way we have the same environments for home city, for corporate office, and as such for all of the containers or generic containers that we might create on our own, they will also have their environment. Let's go back to the Intercity once again, and when there is no device affecting the environment, the values are looped on a 24-hour cycles. That means that, for example, the sun will come up at 6 a.m. and it will sit down at 6 p.m. The ambient temperature of the day will peak at 25 degrees of Celsius at noon. And this cycle is set on the Intercity level, and its ambient temperature rate will propagate all the way down to the main wiring closet automatically. Now we have another scenario. For example, if a heater is added to the corporate office and it's turned on, the temperature inside the corporate office will increase, along with the other containers that are inside corporate office, such as main wiring closet and such. And however, you should note that the heater does not heat up the parent container. This is natural. Of course, when we heat up our home, it does not heat up the whole city. And this is exactly how it is. So once you bring changes in one of the environment variables of a container, it does not really affect the parent containers. However, when the heater is turned off, the corporate office will eventually converge to the parent's container, that means to the city's containers ambient temperature, home city, based on the transference value. So we have the transference values that determine the rate that the child container converges with the parent container, and it works the same way for all environment types. And all of the different containers that we have, they have some level of insulation and thus some value of transference value. So transference value is applicable for all of the containers in the physical workspace. Let me show you a little bit about transference value here in the environment. If we go to Edit and if we go to Advanced, and now if we go to again to the very advanced settings, let me show, as you can see here, if you have this advanced settings turned on, then you will be able to see that all of these different variables, they have their transference value. And as I said before, the transference value determines the rate that the child container converges with the parent container. And the last thing that we want to talk about is that many devices or things affect or respond to the environment in some way or another. For example, a fire sprinkler will raise the water level and humidity in a container. An old car might increase various gases and ambient temperature when it's turned on. A smoke detector can be used to trigger an alarm when the smoke in the environment increases to a certain point. So there is a full range of devices and things that respond and affect the environment. And that's it for this episode, everyone. I hope you've got a good understanding of how environment is and how it works. And in the coming episodes, we will go into more details of environment. Stay tuned.